Episode 46 of the Playaz Club podcast. We're putting it all together today. Holistic thinking is the topic. And with me, as always, the person that seems to always be in frame, Lex. How do you do it?
I see in the bigger picture, my friend.
Oh, that's how you always do it. So, how do you think holistic thinking applies to art in the context of art?
By allowing you to see the project as a whole,
Hmm,
not only as a piece by itself, but I
true.
mean, it can be seen as a piece to a bigger part in a way.
True. I feel like holistic thinking is just a fancy word for saying big picture and the pieces that make that picture up and how they work together.
Yeah, I would agree.
How do you think adopting that kind of mentality allows you to solve problems at a faster rate?
It allows you to look at it from a different perspective, as opposed to it's just overwhelming. You could break it into pieces
True.
and attack it in smaller problems, as opposed to it's one big problem that you can't comprehend in a way.
Hmm. How do you go about that?
How navigating breaking it down.
Yeah. Because I see,
Go for
sorry,
it.
I see almost as though the answer and the problem are connected in a way.
Exactly. Everything is connected by these invisible threads.
Hmm.
Your problem is also your solution in an odd way, like you said. So also viewing it like that, helps to break it down is it's not as big as a problem that you think it is.
Yeah, I think it allows you to chill out a bit whenever you're able to zoom out and
Yeah,
see it's just a part of a bigger problem.
exactly. And it's gonna lead to something that you're gonna be able to improve overall
Hmm.
because of it.
Yeah, I'm sure. How do you go about adopting that mentality?
Adopting that as to
Like seeing it rather than in the moment, you kind of see it as a big problem, like it's a permanent problem per se.
yeah. When I first started, I would say that yeah, I did. Everything was a big problem, even if it was a small problem.
Mhm.
You know, over dramatize it because like, oh, it's in the way. Nobody likes to
It's a
have
setback.
hurdles in the way. Yeah. So I used to make it bigger than it was, but pretty much it's just sometimes your problems are you just have to be aware of something. It's not
What do you mean by
necessarily
that? Be aware of something.
be aware of something. You maybe you think in your creative process that your skill set is not the skill set that you need to venture off to this new experiment you're trying to.
New medium or something.
Yeah, so that could be one of the things. You just need to be self-aware that hey, like you can still have a skill set that doesn't necessarily meet up to what you're trying to, like whatever field you're trying to work in,
Mhm.
but you can build upon it by just venturing off and starting in that field.
That is so true because I feel like at the foundation of it, creation is all the same. It all starts with a sense of belief and a sense of
Mhm.
effort.
Yeah,
So I feel like if you're that open, I think you're able to open yourself to different kinds of medium.
true.
What do you think about how do you incorporate the two, your personal life and your art, and incorporate them both into the bigger picture for a greater harmony per se?
I feel like in a way your personal experiences or even other people's experiences that you have heard about or seen, that those are pretty much your art in itself.
Hmm.
Whether you're aware that it's being expressed within it or not, I feel like it kind of just flows into it naturally.
What do you mean by that?
By just what you're feeling at the moment. I mean, your emotions are a result of your experiences. So
Mhm.
whatever emotion that you're putting into a project, it's a reflection of your personal experience in a way.
Yeah, I feel that too. Because I feel that you are connected, your art and your life in a way.
Mm-hmm.
The struggle, the triumph,
Yeah,
the hesitation, and the happy times, I guess.
it's all reflections of.
It's all a reflection of myself. It's all connected. So yeah, I do think that's what allows you to find some sort of satisfaction.
Yeah,
What do you think helps you through that, through the creative practice, though, is being able to see that all things are connected. How does that help you as an artist?
it's knowing that any little part that you work on is gonna, in some way or form, it's gonna benefit the next part that you have to go in.
The next stage of creation.
Yeah, because I always thought that if it was, say, just painting, it's just okay. Well, that's just strictly in the painting field.
Hmm.
But painting and being able to express yourself within painting allows you to be able to express yourself within music
It
or
carries over.
any other type of medium, you know? So the fact that they're all connected and they all affect each other is a positive in a way. But I can see how a lot of artists can see that as a negative and as overwhelming in some regard.
That's interesting. Go into that. What do you mean?
As to everything's connected, everything affects everything. If I fail in this area, I'm failing everywhere. You know, if I'm halted in this field, I'm halted in all of them. I can't go out and try a different one, you know,
Mhm.
because I failed in this. That's also what I had before, too.
True, I could see that. How it's a domino effect in a way.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I guess that comes into overthinking it, though,
Mm.
in some sense.
True, because I see it from the point of view as to, I think everything connected is helpful in the way that it allows you to know that nothing, like you said, is useless. Learning
Yeah.
is also a continuous process that you can always use later on in the line.
Yeah.
Whatever you learn, because I feel as though I think you could get trapped in that void, whereas too, it's you're just traveling down a road that has no end.
True. You don't really see
You
that
don't see
in.
your goals in sight.
Yeah, you don't see it. It's just monotonous. You're always going to be doing this. You're
Mm.
always stuck in it.
Yeah, so I think the holistic state of mind is almost as though you're chasing growth rather than a final destination or a milestone in per se. Because
Yeah,
I found that whenever you chase milestones in a way, once you reach there, you're kind of like, what now?
true. The goal always keeps.
There's a sort of period where you're kind of like lost, I guess,
Mhm.
because you achieve your goal, you know?
Yeah. So, how do you feel holistic thinking affects your sense of fulfillment? Does it affect it in a positive or a negative? Like how you said, the goal is kind of always stretching out.
Continuous growth.
You never reach your. So to say, you do reach your end goal, but you don't at the
True.
same time.
Because I feel as though you're looking at it as though growth is an endpoint. Or not you per se, but you know, whenever you have whenever you have that fuck.
Could I throw, throw you out?
The
But I
fucking
knew it.
office
I
fucking
knew it.
office camera shit.
I knew it.
Yeah.
All right. Do I have to ask you the question? You gotta come from there.
Fulfillment. We're talking about how holistic thinking
How
gives you
can
a
it?
sense of fulfillment.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think it gives you a sense of fulfillment by allowing you to see the middle, the beginning, and the end.
Okay, go into that.
because I feel as though once you see in projects the beginning, middle, and end,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's easier to move on onto different projects.
So you feel like that gives you more of a sense of when to end it.
When to end it and when to keep going, yeah. Because I feel as though in the middle part, you can have a sense of doubt and even
Yeah,
want to give up, I guess.
that's when most people quit. Yeah,
Have a sense of doubt.
yeah,
But if you have a sense of vision, I think you have a sense of the big picture. You can know that this is how you're supposed to feel in a way.
true.
You're right where you're supposed to be. In what ways do you think the idea of holistic thinking plays into your everyday life?
Kind of how we touched upon a while ago, the sense of you know you're getting better every day. It's not. It's the same as a lot of people say it's not a bad life. It's just a bad day.
Mhm.
You know.
True, it kind of gives you a zoomed out perspective as to
Yeah,
it's just a bump in the road.
yeah. You'll get past it.
Hmm.
You'll grow past it too. You'll be better because of it. It's a sense of kind of how we said too. Again, it's that light at the end of the tunnel
Sure.
that just keeps you going.
You got a sense of hope.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's all the big picture really does. It gives you a sense of hope in which context of your life, because I think your life is such a small amount of time,
yeah.
like 100 years.
Which it seems like a lot, but it goes so fast. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. 10 years goes by fast. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100.
I was like, are you gonna fully commit? So how would you say, like, considering that bigger picture, how would you so and so be able to incorporate that story type aspect into your art? How you said the beginning, the middle, end.
I think it allows you to create stories a much easier way because, like you said, the middle, beginning, and end, it just gives you a blueprint, I feel.
Yeah, kind of where you're
Gives you
going.
a sense of purpose and some direction
Mhm.
as to which way to go and how kind of what kind of story you're making because I feel like that's really the hardest thing about creating a story in any type of way is really what the story is going to be about.
True.
And once you get that down, I feel as though you're really able to add some sort of complexity or nuance into your story in a way that is themes and emotions and stuff like that because you
Yeah,
already know what the basic plot line is about
yeah. It's pretty much the frame of the house, but without the furniture
without
and
the
everything.
furniture. Yeah, I think exactly that's what it is. It's the furniture.
Yeah,
And you're able to get really detailed in that way because I feel as though if you're not able to see the big picture, you're able to easily miss the details.
that's true. How do you? How would you say like serendipity comes into that? How do you? Does it change your middle or your end? Say you got a serendipitous moment hit in the beginning.
Hmm.
Do you stay to that initial bigger picture, or do you adapt that bigger picture because of that moment? You know what I mean?
I think that's where intuition comes into play as to what direction you're going to take your project in.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think serendipity is the things lining up at the right place at the right time.
Yeah,
And holistically is thinking it in a bigger picture. So I feel as though the two come together in a way as I think they're very similar in the way that the way things line up, you know,
mm-hmm.
because you have to have a holistic mindset to see everything line up in a very particular way.
True. You kind of have to give that in a way that manifestation with holistic thinking in order to have that lightning strike to
True.
his head.
So anyway, how do you think holistic thinking is able to give you a balanced perspective?
By seeing the bigger picture, you see that your setbacks are necessary for your growth
Mhm.
in the sense of maybe self reflection in a way, too.
Yeah, the two go hand in hand.
Yeah. So it helps you in that sense distinguish, like we said, it's just the nature of things, it's just what happens. It's not necessarily that it's such a big problem that you're not going to get past it, you know?
Hmm. Go more into that. How do you see the because I guess you could say that's almost minimizing your problems in a way.
Yeah, in a sense.
How do you go from not just brushing off your problem per se and saying it doesn't really matter, but
The
also
issue.
acknowledging it in a way that you see that this is just a part of a bigger contribution to your life?
I would say, in the sense of being aware, being aware of it is what kind of separates you from just brushing it off. And that's just life in a sense of just saying it,
Hmm.
To, you're aware of the points of your failures to the point that you can actually pinpoint why you failed it. It's not just, oh, I just failed it. It's just something that happens.
Hmm,
You
that's a
could be
good
like,
point.
okay, well, I failed it because this, this, and this. I did this or this happened.
Hmm. I feel, yeah, whenever you make failure more analytical, you kind of see exactly where you went wrong. As to,
Yeah.
you could see the data points, I guess, as to which direction went wrong. It's not, oh, I just failed.
Yeah, I just failed.
You're
We'll get them next time.
you're so involved in the process that you know exactly what went wrong and you know where to go next.
Yeah. You say, okay, we're going to
Yeah.
avoid doing that shit next time we meet. And then we could just throw it up. It's not that big of a problem.
Hmm.
We're going to improve on it next time.
It's only a minor setback rather than
Then, like, oh,
uh
your whole career's done. Yeah.
hmm. With that approach, how do you think that's affected your sense of success? Does it diminish it or does it enhance it? Because in this line of thinking, it's kind of like, oh, success doesn't really matter because it's only a part of my life, you know?
Yeah, it just happens, bro. Like,
It's just only a
but
small part of the puzzle.
I would say, yeah, it is a setback as to viewing it in that way. Because I've had that problem too, where you don't, kind of how we talked about a while ago, where your sense of fulfillment is kind of off.
Hmm.
You don't take it necessarily as a success. It's just, I just got lucky. We're just moving on. Whatever, I didn't put in work to get that and make it successful or anything. It just happened. Whatever.
Hmm.
It's just what happened. You get that end goal is where I work the hardest, but kind of it's it's weird in that sense because now that I look at it, I mean, I could separate it and say, okay, any success that you have, you should kind of give yourself props for it. You know?
Yeah. Don't minimize the small wins,
Yeah, just because they're not big or like the expectation that you wanted. Because I
the
mean,
grand prize.
I've had that too. It's like, okay, well, like I achieved this, but like I wanted to achieve bigger than that. Like in this moment.
It's only a small stop in the road. I got a bigger goal in mind, which is fine. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think it kind of, your achievements kind of lose value in a way with that
yeah.
approach.
It kind of skews your mind in the way that it's almost hyper focused on failure to the point where you almost put yourself in positions to fail in that
That's
sense.
interesting.
Like,
Because you're so fixated on the next thing as to success or failure. It's almost as
Yeah,
though you are chasing failure in a way.
yeah. Or you get that misinterpretation as to how we say, okay, well, failure leads to growth. Let me just fail all the time so I could just get better. That's
Hmm.
also a
A
mindset.
misconception.
Yeah, that's also a mindset I've been in as well. You know,
What do you mean by that?
by if you get to a low enough point, you'll hit a breakthrough.
Hmm.
I used to have those too. Like, where it's like, yeah, you just stack up your fails and shit like that. And then you get to a breaking point mentally where it's like, I don't want to fail anymore. And then there's a success, a
Hmm.
big success at that point.
You
But,
get tired of your own failure.
I mean, I don't want to say that's a good tactic to use, like creatively, because it's not. Do not do that shit because you're just mentally breaking down the whole time. You know, it's not
It's
healthy.
hard to sustain. Yeah, you'll have a good run, but
Yeah,
it's hard to do it on the
you'll
long run.
you'll get success. Don't get me wrong. You'll get big success, but at the same time, your creative flow is suffering because of it. Sorry, I gotta talk to the people.
Definitely so. No, I understand that, bro, because
Because it
so
does
true.
get results. I did find big wins in my case, but it's because you were at such a low point because of all these failures stacking up.
Hmm.
That's why it seems so big, but it's not, you know,
You saying you overvalued the success, or
in that sense.
uh-huh.
From me just failing so much or intentionally failing at times just to get that big success, quote unquote, when it was in reality, it's just one of the small ones I could have been stacking up. But I kind of delayed it in that way, you
Mm.
know?
And then yeah, I true. And then it takes a while for another success again.
Yeah. And I got into the pattern of that was just my creative process. It's just do all kinds of stuff that's detrimental to your craft,
Mm.
and then you'll hit a breakthrough eventually. I don't know when.
Would it be a creation out of spite, would you say? Like,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna prove you wrong that I'm not a failure
I
kind of way?
mean, some of my best projects are kind of out of spite. I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm. Spite for who, would you say? Yourself or
Are you gonna have me
audience?
dox somebody?
And that, sure. Tell everything to tell all.
No, I mean, not. I wouldn't say it's fixated on like a specific person.
Hmm.
I'd say it's just a buildup of like multiple people, but the same subject.
Hmm. It's kind of like getting the same answer wrong multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that feeling.
So, I mean,
How do you, how did you said that used to be? What is your new process, would you say?
my new process is kind of how we're talking about. You view the bigger picture.
Hmm.
Okay, I kind of see myself in a bigger studio. I see myself expanding.
You view yourself growing, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a better it's a better mindset than being like, "Hey, yo, I need to cripple my mind just to have my breakthroughs." It's pretty much a more optimistic look as to if you keep working on this, eventually you'll get there.
Hmm.
You
What
know,
would you say you rely on now for your creation? You like you said you relied so much on your
my
or
spitefulness.
the stacking up of your failures. What drives that now? Would you say?
That's pretty fucking depressed. Now that I look back on that shit, my whole creative process was like just be depressed, bro. But
Because I think that's a misconception is that you have to be depressed to create good art, and it's
to
what.
make your best art.
Yeah.
That's what I used to think too. It's like, bro, I'm not gonna be able to create anything if I'm not sad.
Yeah.
But but some of the things too, like I have had a lot of breakthroughs when I was happy. But it is that mindset of coming to it and saying, okay, if
Actually
you
trying. Yeah.
yeah, and if you do fail at it, it's all right. Like,
It's only yeah a
it's only
part.
a part of it. Yeah, you have to get over that failure. I mean, maybe you're gonna fail like 10 times in this one sitting that you're trying to make this thing. but it's the fact that you got over it 10 times.
True, with a mentality of the final goal in mind, I think it's easily to get mad
Yeah,
if you fail 10 times in that day.
because
But
I've been there.
if you
Yeah,
have a growth mindset, it's kind of like, well, I didn't get it today, but tomorrow I
yeah,
learned what not to do.
exactly. Because it is easy to get stuck in that,
Oh no,
failing too much.
I need to
It's
get this
just,
done today.
it seems like your goal is just being pushed. It's a long hallway that just keeps getting longer. But
True, yeah.
in reality, it's a short hallway. You just keep making it longer.
It's an illusion.
Yeah.
What made you switch over, I guess,
Into a more,
optimistic like mindset? Is it
um,
the art itself, or did it take something deeper than that?
I would say that the art itself, I mean, I didn't want to, in a way, I did want to express that, hey, like, I'm deeply like sad or something like that. You could relate to it in some way. But I didn't want that to be my main thing. Was like making people sad.
You're the sad person,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's your
I don't
thing.
ever venture off. Like you never get anything happy from me. Like if you're a happy person, you're not gonna relate to me.
Is that important to you not to get, I guess, what do they call it whenever they get cast in the same role?
Like typecast.
Typecast?
So being the sad person, they're like, hey, we can't sponsor you, bro, for like better help or anything like that
Well,
because
I
you're
think
always
that would be a
depressed.
perfect
But like if I'm
sponsor
always
for
saying
better.
I'm depressed and I'm never gonna get out of it,
They're
like
like,
my career has been like 5 years of just nothing but depressing music or like depressing paintings and stuff. It's like
I
I'm
think
not
some
getting
people would
better.
relate to that though.
I don't know.
Is it
Is
just
it
about the audience you want to draw to yourself, or what?
maybe it's just it's not really the audience. It's just what am I influencing people? Like they could relate to it. They could be like, "Hey, I'm sad too," but it can make them go into a deeper depression just by seeing mines and getting in touch with my sadness. You know what I mean?
True. How do you think seeing the big picture allows you to organize or structure your process?
Like we said a while ago, it's the frame of the house, but you're just looking for the furniture that would best be suited for it.
Hmm.
But at the same time, kind of how we talked a while ago, you see that frame and you say, okay, I got this furniture that's coming in. It's going to look nice. And then you walk into that house one day and you say, you know what? Instead of blue furniture, I want some red furniture. Red furniture would look nice. So then that whole big picture is just turned up
Hmm.
on its head. So, I mean, I do have a sense of routine, but at the same time, I don't have a sense of routine.
Hmm.
So,
There's a sense of spontaneity.
yeah, like there's a set way we're coming into it, but I mean, I'm open to it changing. I guess that's a better way of phrasing it. I'm always sitting there open for it to the house to be demolished and then we start to
We start
build it back
again.
again. How do you come about it?
In what way? What do you mean?
In the sense of seeing the bigger picture, but also kind of, in a way, maintaining your natural
Mm.
routine for your creative process.
Yeah, I think holistic thinking is just being able to set a system in place as to able to that you're able to reference,
True.
something that whenever you're lost or not really sure as to make a decision, that's something you can reference and find a general purpose of direction.
Okay.
Because
All
I
right.
think when you're more organized, it allows you to be more detailed.
True. I mean, you get to build upon things a lot
Hmm.
easier.
And if you get the details, you can easily change them out. Because if you're not aware of the details, I think that's where it kind of you lose control of the project in a way.
Yeah, you kind of lose your so and so drive or slash love for it in
Yeah,
that moment.
because you can't see the end product anymore.
Yeah. Damn. So how do you in a sense stay set on like an end goal for a project? Because I've always had that problem, where I have a set ending for this. I know where it's going, but like I said, it gets changed up, and now I don't know necessarily how to say this is it.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's important to definitely, you don't want to change it so much that you don't even recognize the project anymore.
Yeah,
Because I think if you do that, it's definitely hard to end it because you don't know where to end.
yeah,
You don't know
because
when to quit running, you know?
you don't know where you're going. Yeah.
So I think it's very important to adapt the plan, but never change the plan per se.
Mm. What is the difference though? Adapting to changing.
Adapting and changing, I think the difference is adapting is the endpoint is the same,
Oh,
but changing is rewriting and reconstructing
yeah.
the configuration of the house
Changing is the reboot to the original
in
film.
2.0. Because at that point, I think it's a completely different project. It's no longer
Yeah,
the original.
true. You have a different meaning that comes out of it
Mm.
than initially planned.
And I think sometimes that does happen where you have that change of direction, but at that point, I feel as though you need to scrap it and go back to the beginning for it to be laid properly, the foundation.
Yeah, that's also the thing too. Is do you get those moments where holistic thinking almost helps you in that sense of how you said like you could come back to it later.
Hmm.
You could see the beginning, middle, but the end is over here. Like it's not right here in this moment. I'm gonna finish
I feel it gives you a sense that you can't really count out any idea
it. True.
because if you think any idea is nah, it's just a dumb idea,
Yeah.
then you're gonna lose out on a lot of good projects because that's just the beginning of it. You know, it might be dumb in the
Yeah.
beginning, but to see it all the way through in its final thing, it might have been the most valuable thing that you could have created. You know?
Yeah.
So being able to having a holistic way of thinking whenever you're even trying to figure out what your ideas mean, I think it's good to not necessarily put them in a box or try to figure out what they are necessarily.
Damn, I could understand that. Yeah. You kind of almost put too much expectation on it in that regard.
True. But having a sense of big picture, I think, and putting it in your daily life and practice, how does that allow you to keep a sense of flow or consistency?
Kind of like how we said, it leads to
Mhm.
something that's bigger.
Mhm.
You being consistent or just flowing along with your continuity of your projects, like how we said, you build upon it from your past project, you continued it, maybe even added some element that now you incorporate to all your art pieces, but you didn't before. It kind of allows you to dive back in, so to say, and just view it from almost an unbiased perspective of it.
Is
You
that the
know,
goal to view your art from unbiased perspective, would you say?
it's kind of
Or was it your art or your life?
I feel like in both
Mhm.
both senses, but I feel like it's a given you're going to be biased
because
in either sense. But
it's your life. Yeah,
yeah, there are some moments that you do need to take a step back and, how you said, look at the details rather than this big thing. You know, you're kind of distracted. The veil is over your eyes when you look at it as a
mm-hmm.
whole. You dive into it, see why it works. I feel like that's when you get your deeper understanding of it.
True. I was gonna say, I feel though, seeing the big picture allows you to get in a sense of consistency, just because it's like a ever-ending problem. You kind
Yeah,
of want to solve it. I think it's an ever continual problem, but I think that can also be, some people could view it as a negative, as though
yeah,
it is a ever continuingly problem. You mean it
yeah.
never solves?
Yeah, why am I going to put effort, man? It never fixes anything. Okay, I'm just not going to fix
True. Why do you fix it? What is the
it.
point?
What is the point of
What's the
fixing it?
point of running down a street that never ends? Going down the path of essentially a treadmill of life.
I mean, I guess the ultimate goal of all that is just knowing that you can do it at the end of it. That
Knowing you survived it.
you didn't stop running down the road even though it's a never-ending road. You just had a belief that, hey, there's an end point. Eventually, I'm gonna reach the end of the road. You just kept running.
It's a good point. So, what do you think the point is? Is to reach the end of the road?
I think the point of it, I mean, I feel like your initial thought is, yeah, okay, the point of running down this road is to get to the end of the road. Because, I mean, anything that we've been told in our lives is, yeah, it's just point A to point B. But we've never been told that, like, point B could keep getting further.
Mhm.
And it'll take you longer to get there, like, but I feel like the point of it all is kind of how we brought up the beauty aspect and how you're supposed to appreciate the beauty along the way. I feel like that's the point of it all.
I think the point of it all is to
Exactly.
feel the wind, bro.
Yes. Appreciate the sun on your skin.
Appreciate the wind through your hair,
The wind on your back.
the sun on your skin. Yeah, dude. I think it's easy to get caught up in that, almost that, I guess, title, I guess, or just your materialism or relationship status, your title at work,
Kind of what you're going to get out of it.
exactly what you're
But
gonna get out of it.
yeah. But if what if someone told you like you could work on this but you're not going to get anything?
Would you still do it?
Would you still do it? I guess that's what art is in general. It's like,
Hmm.
would you still do it if someone
No one
didn't
cared.
someone didn't tell you that this was cool or like, you have skills? Would you still do it? Damn. Would
Yeah.
you?
I think essentially, yeah. But if no one cared, would you still do it?
If no one
No one,
no one saw
yeah,
anything you made, no
if
one complimented it, no
no one
one
ever saw it, you
rejected
just have
it.
to destroy it immediately
You just
after.
you just have you and your own perspective of your own art.
That's a good question. I think so, man. But I don't know, because art, in a way, is a direct conversation, in a way, to the external world.
True.
So, what would even be the purpose of creating art if you couldn't have that conversation?
But some people don't want to have that conversation. They just want to express it.
I guess it's, in a way, a conversation with yourself as well.
It's almost like a selfish deed in a way.
Hmm.
Because it's just, yeah, I don't want anybody to see it. I don't care if anybody sees it. I just wanted to do this
It's
for
just for
me.
my own satisfaction.
You know, like for my sanity, this is why this exists, pretty
True.
much. But
I guess it depends on why you create it.
I mean, my PR answer would be like, you know what?
Obviously, of course.
Obviously, I would still create if nobody acknowledged it or anything. But my real egotistical answer is like, yes, I need
I need
I
someone to say
need
it's good, bro.
someone to say that like, hey, this is cool. Because like I think it's cool. But I guess that's just a sense of community in a way too.
Sense of togetherness.
I'm egotistical because like I want the validation for it, and I want people to praise me and shit like that for it because I put in work on this shit. But at the same time, it's a community thing as to like, yeah, do you think this is cool or like how we said a while ago? Do
To
you
relatability.
can you relate to the type of pain I'm in? You know, like can
Yeah.
someone?
It's a reach for connection.
Yeah, it's a cry for help. Buy the merch.
Buy a merch for that cry of help.
The Playaz Club
The Playaz Club
podcast.com.
Podcast.com. How does having a sense of the big picture give you a sense of identity?
Damn. I kind of thought about this too. Is it could give you a genuine sense of identity. I was going to say idea. Identity in the sense of how you see your identity, but in a bigger picture sense. You know, you pay attention to the smaller details, your flaws, your I don't know how you would phrase it, your pluses, your positive attributes and shit. You know, but can it also give you a false sense of identity in a way? That's what I was
Having a big
thinking
picture.
about. Thinking about it in a big picture.
It's true, man. Because I was watching a podcast where someone was talking about how giving a 5 year plan was something the worst thing they could have done
Mm-hmm.
because it gave them a false sense of identity
Shit.
of who they were supposed to be, but they weren't really there yet. So it kind
Yeah.
of made them feel as though they're failing, which
Damn.
is not necessarily true. They're
Yeah.
kind of right where they're supposed to be, but
But with their expectations that they set, they're failing in that regard.
true. So
Okay.
it was a big picture, but
Damn.
so I think that comes where into adaptability. I think it's,
Yeah.
you adapt the plan as to how far are you really to that goal,
Yeah.
rather than being just so thing. What do you think about that?
Like
As
how they
to having a big picture so far away,
the big picture so far
like
away.
this is what my life's gonna look like in 5 years or 10 years.
Well, I had that problem too of I feel like everybody kind of makes that mistake in the beginning.
As to framing your life in a way.
In 5 years, I'm going to be here. 10 years, I'm going to be doing this. You know, like I would set those. I feel like the healthy way of setting it is like maybe a year,
Mm-hmm.
2 years, I'll be here. But even at that point, it's kind of dangerous, you know, because then you do have like a shorter time span at that point. If you don't reach that point, you're gonna feel like you're a bigger failure.
I think
But
it kind of fucks up your perception of time too.
true, it it's in the sense of how we talked about. You know, you speed up your projects because I need something in this time.
You're
If
looking for
I
something out of it.
am gonna become a millionaire in 2 years, I need shit like a lot of things that are gonna be able to sell or get eyes on them and stuff like that, so I could reach that goal by then. But are you making quality projects? Do you even care about this? You know, you lost all that by setting all these
Chasing
goals, like these long
goals.
term goals in a way.
And I think it's easy to burn out that way as well.
Yeah,
You're chasing a goal that is so long term in a way that you can't really see it.
exactly.
You
Or
can't see the vision.
it's at some point it seems too big of a goal that you set.
Yeah,
You
you're
were thinking
looking and
too fucking big.
do you think that's possible in a way to think too big?
No. I
What
think
did you mean by that? Like,
By a simple no.
no, because it kind of contradicted
In
itself, you know?
what ways?
Because you're
Because
like, don't think too big,
don't think too big, but
but
think big.
you're like, nothing is too big to think of, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, you're like, don't think too big because they'll fail, I guess. I guess you would don't think so long.
I guess that's an overthinking aspect. Like,
Yeah.
if you overthink it, then yeah, it's too big of a goal, and
Mm.
then it's a big failure. You
Yeah.
know, it's kind of like how I said with the successes. As to failing so many times. Okay, this small success seems like a big success because I've had so many losses. Like if you overthink it, your loss is going to go from being like this, which is just reality, and you're going to think of it like this
Way bigger than it actually is.
and say, well, damn, I'm a failure altogether. It's not just a little mishap. It's me, dude. That's the false sense of identity. Is like, okay, well, I'm a screw up because I can't do anything.
Hmm.
Can't get anything. But it is it is oddly contradicting because you could say, okay, well, there's no limit to
To your
how
dreams, yeah.
to how far you could think you could reach.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it's like you could set that and you could think that, but your skill sets and your mindset and all that and stuff still come into play. Like that's what would mess with me too. Is like, okay, well, I could see myself like this in 10 years, but the way that I'm thinking and what I'm doing right now is not going to make me end up there in 10 years.
Hmm.
So it's kind of a weird thing. I guess you got to be, how do you say, optimistic all the way through. Set a big goal and actually strive towards it.
Yeah, I think it's about knowing what phase you're in, the beginning,
Yeah, that
and
too.
setting realistic goals.
Yeah,
Because you could be like, I want to go to the moon or whatever, but
you don't even have a
the
ship.
the first step is how do I make a ship? Yeah, you know?
Yeah, you don't even got a monkey to sit passenger.
Yeah,
Like,
you don't even got the necessary supplies, man.
but you're thinking big. It's good.
But
It's
you need the, yeah,
it's good in a way, but you need the skills and the drive to apply it.
I think that's a good point, as to setting realistic goals on yourself as to build up to that point.
Yeah, because how do you think that comes into play with like setting it for other people? Because that's even more dangerous.
What do you mean setting it for other people?
As for like expectations that you have of other people that you may be working with, like in 5 years or something like that, they're gonna be like this. 10 years, they're gonna be like this, but they don't end up kind of how we're saying. You work towards that.
Hmm.
How do you how do you keep that optimism in that way?
I think it's hard to keep optimism in a group if everyone is not on the same page, or if everyone ain't have the same vision.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very hard to keep optimism in a group for a long period of time
True.
because they're both fighting in different directions. They both want
Mm-hmm.
two different things.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think for it to work, it has to be a same sense of, I guess, passion to get it done, or they can see it done.
They could both see that end goal,
Yeah,
as opposed to one is kind of how we said they're overthinking it. So it's a big problem.
it's too big of a mountain to climb.
Yeah.
How do you think your environment plays into you taking the mindset as to I can climb that mountain?
It's, I mean, it's kind of common sense. Your environment's going to influence you, you
Hmm.
know. So if you do have if you do have a group that like the rest of the four of the five people, including you, you
Yeah.
know, like they're they're all freaking out because like, hey, we're gonna have to scale that mountain. Do
Hmm.
we have harnesses? Do I didn't even wear my hiking boots. You didn't tell me I needed to do this. You know, like they're all freaking out. So I mean, in turn, if that's your environment, you're gonna be like, you know what? Yeah, you're right, man. Like I do got the wrong shoes on too. You
Maybe
know,
we won't
I
make
got
it.
boots on, but like, are they the right boots to be hiking in? Or like, do I need like a backpack with water? Are we gonna get stuck up there? You know,
So doubt in yourself.
you start thinking of that because everybody else is.
Hmm.
So I mean, if you have an environment where you have people constantly saying like, "Yo, man, we're gonna go today. We're gonna go. We're gonna take these bags. We're gonna get us some water. We already got our boots and all this and that stuff. We're gonna go hike this mountain
Hmm.
at this time. We're all gonna be that. We're all gonna do this. You're gonna be pretty much prepared and say, okay, at this time we're gonna go. I'm gonna go hike this mountain with all these other people, just because
It's a group effort.
that's what you soaked in. Yeah, you're like a sponge.
Hmm.
Anything you take in is what you kind of put out into the world. Oddly
Hmm. How do you also create an environment
enough.
where your ideas are also being challenged in the way that it's not
Damn.
it's not also the all right, yeah, we'll do that, you know.
Someone's like, bro,
Yeah.
hiking is boring as hell. Like, you know what else we could be doing, bro? Yeah,
I could take the ATV up the
we just drive an ATV up there, bro. Y'all are gonna walk? Okay, I'll meet y'all up there. Like, yeah, that's also the thing. Like, how do you? Because in a way, that can be kind of a negative in a way. If you do have someone that's always opposing it,
opposing your rule.
yeah, like if everybody's in accordance, we're gonna hike it, and then they're like,
God.
"Bro, I got a 4-wheeler. Like, let's all just hop in. Y'all hop on the back and
It's
shit.
like,
You know,
bro,
hold
no.
on." Yeah, it's like no, it's about the challenge that
We're
it was gonna
hiking it.
be
Exactly.
to hike the mountain. He's like, "Bro, y'all are idiots." Like, okay, hike it. I'm gonna drive up the mountain, and I'll be chilling with like the hot dogs and all this and that and stuff at the top. It's like, cool. We
Yeah.
got a guy that's like gonna reward us at the end. Cool. You better fucking stay up there. It's gonna take us a while. It's gonna take us a while to get up there, bro. But
It's a good balance, bro.
how do you know? Yeah,
Because I feel like someone like that could also enhance the experience. You know, like
yes,
yeah, we could do that and this, and it's like even
yes.
better. You know.
So how do you distinguish the difference between the two? That this is helpful and this is kind of like, hey man, you're just always against everything that we do.
I think one person is trying to add,
Mm-hmm.
and one person is trying to subtract things. It's almost like the yes and rule.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, we could do that, and what if we do
and
this?
as opposed to like,
Like,
oh nah, don't do that. Let's just
nah.
do this.
Yeah, I think just trying to at least attempt to view someone else's point of view,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily accept it,
Yeah, yeah.
but to try to understand it is the difference.
Damn. So
Damn.
is it okay though,
Mhm.
in the broader sense, to have the guy that takes off in the 4-wheeler? Like everybody is watching this man
Is it
scale up the
okay?
mountain because
It depends on the context, I guess. Yeah.
he just from the group.
He detached from the group.
He's
Yeah.
a lone wolf. He does what he wants, not what like everybody's in accordance to.
I think everyone has to be in agreement.
So everybody's got to be cool with
Like,
like, okay, you're gonna
well,
go.
Mike has a fucked up knee. He's gonna take the ATV.
Yeah, yeah. You can't be like, yo, Mike, really?
Really, bitch?
Really, Mike, you knew we were going hiking, bro. Like, you could have told us no. You told us yes.
Yeah.
But, like,
All right.
everybody knew. He's got a busted out knee. Everybody knew it. They still invited him to go hiking.
Yeah, or he still wants to be involved, so it's like,
Yeah,
so
that
I
is
could see it.
true. Yeah, you could be like, you know what? Yeah, go meet us at the top, cook us the
Like
burgers, all
Mike
this and
can't
that shit.
walk for shit, but
Mike is helpful
we
in a
still want him
different way.
around.
Yes.
Yeah, I think yeah, you could be helpful in a different way.
Yeah. Damn.
But how do you go about like having a big picture frame of thinking, but
Mm-hmm.
also gaining that feedback from the people around you, whether it is negative or positive?
Because I see having the view of the bigger picture is kind of optimistic in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not viewing the bigger picture, I feel like you're in a negative mindset. You're kind of closed up. So to be optimistic in the sense of like you're getting all the feedback, not only from your collaboratives, but from people that you're distributing to.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, I feel like it could affect your overall view of the bigger picture, especially if you do, like we say, you overthink about the negative feedback you get. So then
So easy.
it could skew your view of your end goal in a way. You know, they don't like this, man.
Put doubt in you.
Yeah, like nobody's fucking with it. You know, maybe I shouldn't.
Is this the right thing to do?
Yeah,
Or
maybe I shouldn't go do all this stuff that eventually is going to make me end up here because like I mean what am I going to get here for? They're
no
not
one
going to
else
like me
sees
and
it.
they're not going to want it by the time I get there.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I mean, you could get caught up in the positive feedback as to the bigger picture that you could start broadening that shit. You could start saying like how we said you set bigger goals, but you're not there. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just you're getting so much good feedback. You feel good. You feel more drive, more motivation. And stuff. All right, well, let's go bigger. But you're not ready for that shit. So
You scale your business too soon.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess it's just about finding that healthy balance between you can accept good feedback from people, you know, praise or bad feedback, the rejection from people, but you just can't sit with it and let it affect your overall bigger picture, I would say.
How does viewing the big picture play into taking creative risk and being not necessarily how we talked about earlier as to tired of failing, but in a way that it's open for growth?
Because in both senses, yeah, you can have a sense of the greater picture overall, but if you already have an end set in mind, in some ways it does kind of hold you from taking those creative risks because in a way you would maybe see it as like no it's going to change this, it's not going to be the same and like
You're cooking too close to the recipe.
yeah, yeah. So in that sense I feel like it could be detrimental to look at it as too big of a picture, but in the grand scheme of it in the positive way as to looking at the bigger picture and its details, it kind of in a way it calls for you to take creative risks along your way of going through this process of making this project.
In what ways do you think it calls to you to take that creative risk?
It's just the sense of like kind of how we brought up a while ago, you know, you want to broaden yourself out to other mediums, you know, new experiences and stuff like that. That if you take a creative risk within this, it could make it better.
Hmm.
Maybe you
There's always a
should,
chance.
yeah, maybe you should just dive headfirst into the water. Why not? You know,
Do you incorporate those into your big picture thinking that there is essentially an opportunity that could change the path? Or are you so dead set,
I would say I'm a little too open.
Too open to the plan changing?
Yes.
Hmm.
So much so that sometimes it would get to a point where I just don't have an end goal because it's too open.
There's so much. Yeah, it's hard to. I think that's the hardest thing about ending a story is how to end it. What is the
Exactly.
conclusion?
Because it's like I'll get it to where I have a good beginning, I have a good middle, and I don't want to fuck up the end. I'll start to overthink it on that
Yeah, that's a
front.
good point. Not wanting to mess up the end. What do you think viewing shit from a big picture lens allows you to gain some sort of joy or satisfaction from living in the moment?
Just the feeling of you. I kind of always come back to it, but you get to experience it.
Mm.
It's a blessing in a way that you get to do what you do. It's like we said, okay, like you can you could you could run down the road, but I mean it's going to take you a longer time if you're in a wheelchair, so to say. You're supposed to go down this road. Of course, you're seeing people run past you and shit like that. You'll be like, God damn, God
Damn,
damn,
bro.
they're all the way down there, bro.
Yeah,
And it's gonna take me a while. But you may get to a point where like you're pulling up in your wheelchair and everybody's gassed at this point. And
the
you
turtle
just
and the hare.
and you just passing by. So
I have to recreate that turtle and the hare story. Wheelchair and the
with
runner.
that, the man in the wheelchair.
In the runners, yeah.
He's got the little tag on him with like the runners having and shit. But it's
That's a
true
good point.
though. I mean, you enjoy it in that moment and say, well, it's not that. Well, fuck, man. Like I don't got the liberty that they have, you
Mhm.
know, or so and so in the art sense. I don't have the skill set that they have. I can't draw like that or something. In some sort of way, they don't know how to do something that you know how to do. So that
Some sort of way, yeah.
that sense of fulfillment should come to you as well. You shouldn't have to be told that, hey, nobody else could do this but you.
You're unique.
You should just be able to be in that moment and feel that and say, damn, I could create this. A lot of other people can't.
That's true, man. I think as an artist, you feel, as an artist, whenever you create from a sense of to create
Hmm.
rather than a sense of to sell, I feel as though you'll be a lot more happy, more fulfilled, and
Yeah.
have a much more sense of joy because, like you said, you're enjoying that moment or purpose to create. You'll do it for free
Yeah.
rather than doing it to reach an end goal or a milestone.
Or out of spite, like we said, you're doing it for
Spy
other
for,
people.
yeah, to just succeed out of spy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'll be able to maintain longevity through that, creating just to create,
Yeah.
have fresh
Plus,
ideas.
you get genuine emotion into it
Hmm.
as opposed to forced, this is what people want type of
Final question. How do you think embracing the idea of holistic thinking has deepened your understanding of not only yourself, but of your art?
thing. Damn, holistic thinking has brought me to a point of viewing not only myself but my art as, in a way, it's all everything that happens during this process is a part of a bigger scheme.
Mhm.
It's in a way it's supposed to happen. It's just how the cards are
Happens for a
supposed to
reason.
fall. Yeah, it's essential for me to go through to get to my end goal is what I think of it as. But in a sense, as for kind of how I see that other people should see it is it kind of does bring you to that realization. Like we said, you need to be appreciative of those small details and not just, hey, it's when I get to the end of this and I could tell everybody that, hey, I did this. You know?
It's a milestone.
Yeah, even if you're self improving day by day and you're not at the point that you kind of want to be at this point, it's still okay. You're working on it day by day. It's all right.
You're getting there.
Yeah.
Good advice, bro.
What is
almost
it?
Nah, that was
What is
good.
your perspective?
The way holistic thinking has allowed me to deepen my understanding of myself and my art. I feel as though it's allowed me to deepen my understanding by making me realize that the two are intertwined in a way that whatever my experiences in my life is a reflection in my art, and the choices and decisions I make in my art kind of affect what my life happens, what happens in my life. And in that way, I think it's a direct conversation from my internal dialogue to the audience in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And it also helps me realize that every phase is important, the beginning, middle, and end, and to appreciate that a little bit more.
Yeah.
And to go into that realizing that every decision, relationship, and choice is a greater picture or means to a greater end.
Yeah.
And it puts your life in context as to you're here for a reason. And
True.
whenever I feel as though you're practicing art with a holistic mindset,
Yeah.
it's not only that you're creating art, but you're also building on a fundamental thing that what it means to live life.
Damn. It helps you get the deepest understanding of life.
A broader context. And that
Damn.
concludes episode 46 of the Playaz Club Podcast. Get your merch at theplayazclubpodcast.com. Got anything, Lux?
Stack your cash. I was gonna say something else, but we need to be monetized. Stack your cash. Chase your dreams. Don't
Chase your
think any
dream.
dream is too small or too big to achieve. Focus on your wins, your losses, and
Put it together, my
put it
dogs.
all together.
Peace. Episode 46.
Hey.
See y'all later. Peace.